Hi. So today's question that I would like to put out and start a conversation about is, how are you aging? Hi, and welcome back to these daily videos that I'm sharing with all of you every day. And these are actually helping me to dive deep into areas which I have never really given time to earlier on. So these are making me think of some topic every single day. This 30-day challenge of posting videos by Siddharth Rajshekhar, my digital mentor, and much more, of course. So the question today is, how are you aging? And yeah, I'm Rohini, I'm a mind coach, and I truly believe in the power of subconscious mind and how our mind can influence our lives. Some decisions that we make in our mind can have a great effect in our lives. And uh, this question that I'm asking today about how are you aging has a very powerful story from my life, and I'll be sharing a few stories that have had a great impression on me, that have influenced me as a person. So, now this question is addressed to you, no matter at what age you are, whether you are in your 20s, whether you are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, whichever age group you are in. Now, when I was about, this was in the year 2004, 2005, I believe, I'd suffered with vertigo. And I had lost my memory to a lot of extent, and I would have these fainting bouts, and I would forget names. And I actually started saying this. This became my story, that I've become very forgetful. I can't remember things. I would keep something somewhere, and I would forget it. I would forget names. I would forget everything. Anything I read, I would forget it immediately. Wouldn't be able to retain anything. So, and that was the story I started owning and telling myself again and again. So even when I recovered and I started moving around normally, those fainting bouts stopped and all, I still held on to that story. And for the longest time, I couldn't retain a lot of information or names or whatever. So my mechanism was, and I am a person who loves to study, who loves to read. And whether I had chosen the role to be a homemaker as my children were growing up, and we were moving in different cities, even throughout, I never stopped studying, I never stopped reading. And whichever book I would read, whatever I like, any quote or any message that I like, I have this habit inherited from my father. I would make notes continuously. So that is something which became my savior when I was trying to retain my memory. So whatever I would read, or if I was attending a lecture, I would write it down. And that's how probably my memory also started improving, but I had not realized it by then. So when we moved a few years back, when I started volunteering for an organization, an NGO, and there people would observe, and they actually asked me, how do I do this? I'm taking notes at the same time, I'm also responding, and I'm able to retain, and I'm thinking also. How did that happen? And when someone asked me that, I was like, really? How did that happen? My story was, I forget things. And as a survival mechanism to not forget, I used to write down things. Which I felt that, and whatever came to my mind at that time, like sometimes we make notes to self, right? I would write those as well. So I would write everything that came to my mind. So that, I discovered, became my asset. That became a distinguishing factor. And what did that do to my morale? I just discovered, wow, I stopped telling myself the story that I don't remember. So that stopped being my story anymore. And later on, when I started learning and I started interacting with people, I actually started remembering people's names. And I would make an effort. So whenever I met somebody, I would kind of remember perhaps the hairstyle or some distinguishing feature in that person, and I would make an effort to remember names, because what used to happen is, I meet you, I say, "Oh, hi, my name is Rohini," and you tell me your name, and the moment we part ways, I've forgotten your name in an instant. And that was very embarrassing. Like if I met this person second time, it would be, I would feel so ashamed for not remembering this person's name. So I really made a Herculean effort to remember the features of the person, the tone, how, like the voice quality or something, some differentiating factor about that person. And before I knew it, and when I was doing this course, like I mentioned the other day, we did Quantum Leap. So there were these four different courses under Quantum Leap. And so we kept meeting the same group of people, we kept meeting in different cities and different workshops. And I would remember most of the names, and then people started telling me, "Oh, you have a great memory." I said, "Yes, I have a great memory." And that became my news story. So, oh, hi, I can see home stylist Rutu here. Hi, Rutu. Thank you for joining in. So, yeah, so that became my news story. So, where was all this happening? It was all happening in my mind. And the reason I'm asking this question to you today is, I want you to ponder over it and choose your story. How are you aging? Are you aging with the story that, oh, now this is my age and I have to act my age and I can't do this and I can't do that and whatever else? Are you telling yourself that story? Or are you telling yourself the story? So one thing which we've noticed, and I've seen, I have friends working for NGOs where they support senior citizens, where people who have stopped working, in the sense they've stopped their job, they suddenly feel lost in life. So all their lives they've been going for this job. They would leave early in the morning, perhaps work 16 hours, sometime 20 hours, would be traveling, and all of a sudden after retirement they don't know what to do with themselves. And there are a lot of support groups these days who are supporting, who are creating activities for senior citizens, and all of that. However, I have something beautiful to share here as well. So when I started my career, I used to speak at this forum called Help Talks in Mumbai. And the audience would be, the audience there to listen to those talks were people who were like in their 60s, 70s, 80s. And all these gentlemen and ladies, they would actually travel from different, like from quite a distance. And I could tell that many of them were more knowledgeable than I was. But the respect that they showed me, and the diligence with which they took notes from whatever I was sharing, taught me a lot more. A lot more. And that has also become my reference point. That no matter at what age you are, these were men who had retired from really high positions. They probably had seen more life than I had, they had more experiences. And then we also know another set of elderly people who feel that, oh, now they have retired, so all they have to do is nothing, probably sit around and criticize the other family members. So, my question to you is, what is your story as you're aging? What story are you telling you? Are you telling yourself the story that I told myself once? That I have a very bad memory? Or are you changing that story? Because, my dear friends, it is research has proven this. No matter what your age, it's like exercising any muscle. So if you put your mind to work, it will work for you. And I also have a great impression of this 80-year-old gentleman when I had just first time I was out of my home, first PG experience, and I used to go for jogging and I used to run up the hill in Pune. And there was a gentleman who would run up with me. He was 80 years old, mind you. 80 years old. I don't remember his name, but I remember him so well. Can you believe I was probably, how old was I at that time? 18, 19, 20 max, 18, 19 years old perhaps, just out of 10th standard. And this 80-year-old gentleman matched the energy of a 18, 19-year-old youngster. And I can never forget that. I have never been able to forget that. And that, I always aspired to be like him. I always felt that, oh, if I live that long, I would like to be that agile. And probably that is the impression, my dear friends, I want to share with you today and admit it to you. That that gentleman's impression is what probably took me through that story of mine, which I'd started in between, where I had a broken ankle, broken knee, I had a stick in my hand, and the doctors had told me I'll never be able to sit cross legged. I do all of that today and much more. So after that, I also have trekked. So I changed my story and I attribute it to this study of my mind and to these great influences that I've had in my life, of these amazing people that have crossed my path and shown me what is possible. So, now what is your answer? How are you aging? What is the story that you are telling yourself? And what is the story that you would like to change if you are telling yourself a story that is not serving you? Thank you, Rutu. Thank you, Kiran. Oh, hi, Kiran. Oh, amazing. There are times when I don't see any names, but it's so nice to see Kiran and Rutu. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Rutu. Yes. Story of back pain to, yes, all the strength you have. Absolutely. Yes, about the back pain. Absolutely, it can be changed. So for the longest time, and thank you, Rutu, for sharing that. And I'd like to share one more point with you. So for the longest time, all these pains in our body, they are caused by something that we have suppressed within us, some burden that we are carrying or something. So just find out what it is. And once you change that story, that back pain, you will not even remember when the back pain disappeared. Like for the longest time, I used to have my shoulders stiff and terrible pain in my shoulders for years together. And when I made certain changes in my life, that pain disappeared and I even forgot about it, that I had this pain in my shoulders. Till somebody asked me, like, how's your shoulder pain? And I said, oh, I don't even remember it anymore. So I wish each one of you that luck. Please assess what is the story you're telling yourself, especially regarding your own age. What reality have you, what supposed reality have you accepted and made it your own? That with certain age, you need to do certain things, you need to be a certain way. And we know today there are 60-year-olds who have been trekking on Himalayas, or even women in 70s. So all the stereotypes have been broken by humanity. All we need to do is just look around and assess our story and change it if it doesn't serve us anymore. So thank you very much. Thank you, Rutu, for all your comments, and thank you for being here. Thank you, Kiran. So thank you so very much. I hope this was a useful piece. If it was, do let me know in the comment section. And yeah, I would love to hear what is the story you are telling yourself today, and what is the story that you are going to adopt from today. Okay, I would love to hear all of that. Please let me know in the comment section. With loads of love and a sprinkle of stardust, keep shining. Thank you.